today is really going to be all about unlocking your hidden potential, right? And finding more purchase loans with Sales Boomerang, right? So it's going to be this unlocking, like where's all this potential? Where are all these resources? And then also, how can we get more purchase loans? I want you to walk away with something that you look at as like, hey, this is very important, that I can reference, but then what's something that I can take away and actually put into practice today? And that's what we want to do for you. So Spencer, you ready to rock and roll, man?
I am, my friend. Let's do it.
The agenda really is this, guys. It's 4 parts. Number 1, we're going to cover our amazing monthly marketing piece that our team creates, and so we're going to share that. We're going to introduce something that we're very excited about here at Sales Boomerang, which is the Resource Hub. Spencer's going to talk about that. We're going to talk about scorecards and your own personal scorecards, and what that means to you and how it can transform your business and increase your ROI and so forth. And then lastly, we're gonna talk about and spend some time, me and Spencer talking about how you can find more purchase loans using Sales Boomerang. So if you guys are good with that, let's do this, right? So again, my name is Pablo Troncoso. I'm your growth strategist here at Sales Boomerang, and I am joined today by my awesome cohort, Spencer Schultz. He is the one that's leading the charge with training and adoption and strategy. We do it all together. And, you know, Spencer, I think you're going to be celebrating a year here pretty soon at Sales Boomerang. Spencer started off as a CSM. He was also in the mortgage business. And that's why it's such a great, opportunity for your team to grow with us. Again, I was in the mortgage business for about 9 years as well, as a producer, as a branch manager. And for the first 2 years here at Sales Boomerang, I did a lot of the training. And so, you know, we're definitely the right team for you. And again, we really want to approach all of these conversations as partner conversations. So before we jump into the Resource Hub, I did say that I wanted to share our ebook for the month. Let me go ahead and switch over here, which is an amazing case study that we want you to read about, right? One of the number one things that folks ask us about is they always say, hey, what's everyone else doing? What are like the best doing that I need to be doing? And so this month's ebook is actually a case study. And we've titled it A Mortgage Toolbox to Brag About. And it's showcasing one of our client partners, Premier Nationwide Lending. And guys, I highly encourage you to take a look at this, because they talk about, you know, what opportunity they had, what solutions they had that were clear, results that speak for themselves, right? They talk about the specifics of what happened after they had put into place, you know, certain action items, and it's right from, you know, I hate when people say it's the horse's mouth, but it's right from the source, right? It's right from the source. This isn't us bragging. This is somebody else bragging about us, and we love to hear that. So, Nicole, if you haven't already, could you please drop that? Oh, it looks like you have. Great. She has already dropped the registration or the sign up to get that resource. So let me go back to our slide deck there. Okay, cool. So make sure you get yourself that tool. But now I want to bring on Spence. Spence, you've been working with our CSM team, with our product team, with our marketing team. You've been working real close with Cassie Scarcia, she's one of the project managers on the customer success side. She's also an amazing customer success manager on this Resource Hub. So unfortunately, we can't have her here with us today. We wanted to, but she's taking care of a wonderful new baby that she has. And but Spence, if you can dive in and really share, maybe first before we dive in and show them the where and how to find everything, why we even created this, right? What is the Resource Hub and why is this important?
Exactly. So Pablo, we just wanted to have a place for all of our users, whether it's your sales team, whether it's someone who is the administrator as a lender's behalf, to live and find case studies, frequently asked questions, information, scripts. Where do I find more information when I'm looking for it? Where can I live inside of Sales Boomerang? When I have new hires on my sales team, where can I direct them to get up to speed if we don't have the opportunity to do a refresher training immediately? You know, I brought on one person this month, or maybe I brought on 10. How can I get them up to speed? Or maybe sometimes a lot of times we'll see our lender partners create a new division or reshift the imagination of how they're using Sales Boomerang. And we wanted to give a full resource hub, including video content, frequently asked questions, case studies, all of these webinars of these two very handsome gentlemen that I think are named Pablo and Spencer, that are constantly trying to give out all relevant information. And where can I keep up to speed? Sales Boomerang has grown so much in the last year or two in terms of the alerts we offer, the different products, our approach, and just trying to gather information and best practices. So we wanted to create a place to live where we can point our new hires, or if I'm someone who's doing the day-to-day, the nitty-gritty of Sales Boomerang administration, that I can ultimately find tips that are useful, find better ways to organize myself and live. So we wanted to create the resource hub, something we've been working on for quite some time. We're very proud of. It has just gone live for you guys, but we're excited to share. And again, Sales Boomerang always wants to follow KISS, keep it simple, stud. So again, signing up for it, you enter your name, you enter your email, just like the way we work out of our dashboard. You can just have an email that receives your information.
What's that URL, Spence?
So it's support.salesboomerang.com. Nicole, Pablo, please drop that in the chat. So it's as easy as support.salesboomerang.com. We'll take you right to our resource hub where you'll follow this prompt just to log in, create an email, create just enter your full name. It will send you an email. You click a link and it takes you into our beautiful resource hub. So again, trying to keep it simple. We wanted to have a place to promote new information. Hey, what are some recent updates to Sales Boomerang? So this is our dashboard of it, and able to say, hey, okay, new. We've got cross alert suppression going on. We can click that and find where it is. Anything up to date as we're coming out with new fixes, new alerts, new products, anything new and useful, we will have on the front page here. And so we wanted to split it into two ways, guys. Okay, where can I send my sales team, my new hires, or, I wanted to increase adoption here, make sure we're following up and just see what other people are doing to follow up on these alerts. So we have loan officer resources, or you can think of them just as sales resources. So if I wanted to say, all right, what are the best practices to, have a equity alert and cash out alert, for instance, we have our SBUs here, and you can click one of these and you'll find a video link right here. We also, for each of these, have tried to navigate everything that we find relevant for what you clicked on. So you click on this, we're going to say, hey, here's 6 ways to use Sales Boomerang for purchase opportunities, which Pablo will be getting into a little bit later. Here's how to harness purchase business. Here's 3 strategies to turn downs into touchdowns, anything of the sort. So best practices. Oh, well, hey, we've got these scripts. We think they're working okay. We want to increase our conversion rate. Where can we go? Where can I send my sales team? Boom, scripting and approach. Who's in the market for a mortgage right now? We have video content. We have articles that can ultimately show all of these beautiful areas of Sales Boomerang and all of the resources we've worked on, all the video content we've created. We have our ebooks here as well. Hey, here's some advice. Hey, where can I go to try to get my sales team to have the right attitude with how we reach out and follow up? Here's ebooks. Hey, be your borrower's best financial friend. You can download your copy directly here and go to the Sales Boomerang front and get your ebook on all of that ultimately. So all of these resources, the webinars, the SBUs, everything lives in this section, trying to go fully sales oriented, how to, have any sort of cracking the code white paper here, how leading lenders are overcoming the mortgage industry's customer retention problems. So getting people up to speed with what Sales Boomerang is in a sales sense, as well as how to live. So trying to answer all of those questions as well. Then the duality of it.
So,
Go ahead,
so
Pablo.
Spence, real quick, before we move on to the other part, because I think, so you just went over one of 2 sections, right? So this is the loan officer section, like we call it, like the sales section.
Right.
So if you're a director of marketing, if you're a branch manager, if you're a sales leader, sales director, or even if you're a loan officer, right? Because loan officers actually have direct access and they can go and sign up and access these tools themselves. Is that correct, Spencer? Right? They
absolutely can. Anyone can utilize this. You can log in. So anyone on your sales team, anyone that is administrator, anyone at the enterprise level, anyone.
So, but specifically on the sales side, right? Because again, I was a branch manager. This would have been exactly what I would have wanted if I was using Sales Boomerang. Like, where do I find my scripts? Where do I find the videos that are related to like how to use this, how to actually use this as a salesperson, right? As a loan officer. What are the actual video explainer videos? All of that is found on this side. So what I love about this is that you've broken it down into two basic kind of forks in the road, right? One is loan officers. in sales, and the other one is basically this other side, which is basically the admin, right? We kind of teased about it earlier. I'm like, think of it like this. The resource hub is if Sales Boomerang Resource Hub is your car, right? The sales side is the driver, right? The one that's actually doing all the work, getting out there and getting to the business. This other side, the platform or the admin side, is really the mechanic, is the person that's working on the car and making sure that it's finely tuned so that you can work, so that the sales team can get to their goals. And so why don't you share a little bit about that and what we can find in here?
Absolutely. Well said, my friend. So, and again, what questions are we trying to solve? Hey, we use Total Expert or we use Big Purple Dot. Where can I find more information on my CRM and our integration with Sales Boomerang? First thing here, Velocify. We have a full video content explaining the breakdown. You can click it here. We'll take you right to that video and able to get the full spiel on what the integration existing between Sales Boomerang and Velocify is, or any of our other CRM partners. So all of these are on the side here, as you said, anything relevant. So we're able to go, hey, that's where we can find more information about our integration. Okay, what are some of the best practices and strategies? Sales Boomerang is working with so many lenders. How do we kind of stack up? What could we be doing that falls in line with these alerts and the systems that we have? So here's best practice parameters for our alerts. And you're able to find a full download here to a full smorgasbord of opportunities to increase your ROI ultimately and find those sweet spots within Sales Boomerang. We also can say, okay, conversion reports, I've heard about these. Where can we find these? And how do you guys use them? How do we count them? So we have full visuals and breakdowns on our conversion reports and all of these different tools. And the ones that I think are most helpful, guys, hey, what alerts could I be using, or what are the exact settings for each alert? You can go into our core alerts under watches and alerts, as well as our prescriptive scenarios, our new shiny, to go back to the car references, the car theories is like, these are our Ferraris, these are our day-to-day cars, here's the weekend cars, and here's the nitty-gritty core alerts here too. So the cash out, what is this cash out alert I've heard so much about? We're going to give a full breakdown of what is monitored, what records are put into it, how often they trigger, anything that you could ask about these alerts ultimately, guys.
And what I love about what you're showing us, Spencer, is it's not just like you click one thing and then it just gives you the one solution or the one article. It gives you everything that could reference that, or could also be, hey, people are also asking about this. And clearly, as you're seeing, this wasn't created overnight, right? And not only was it not created overnight, all of the resources weren't created overnight, which means that it's not done tonight, meaning we'll always be updating this, right? So as we get updated resources, as we get updated scripts, as we have more integration videos, maybe you didn't see my CRM in there and you're like, oh my goodness, does that mean that they don't work with us anymore? No, it's not true. We're just, it's a living and breathing document or hub, so to speak. So I'm really excited about this. Let me see. Jeremy just asked a question. I want to take a look at that here in the chat. How can I find out what is included in my enterprise account right now? I'm a trigger leads integrated into my CRM. Hey, Jeremy, I love your shirt too. Appreciate you loving our shirt. No bar left behind. It's also hopefully no answers left behind or no questions left unanswered. Jeremy, so for right now, I would just say make sure that you get with your CSM, your customer success manager, and ask them, send an email. You feel free to send them an email directly, CC us. But either way, one of the big takeaways from this, guys, is anything that you see here and you have a question about, get in touch with your quote unquote, your mechanic, right? Your specialist. Don't talk to the driver when you should be talking to the guy that, knows where the pistons are and what they do in your car. So anyway, I'll just leave it to that. But Jeremy, hopefully we can get you an answer on that right away.
To add on to that, Pablo, we have throughout this entire resource hub, at any time you can access, submit a request. This is going to go directly to our support team. So if you're unsure of who your CSM is, or if you're unsure of a certain detail, or wanted to open a ticket for something with your integration, whatever it may be, you're able to submit a request here, and that will remain anywhere you are. So if you're in the admin side, this submit a request will be up here as well. So if you're unsure, you can always ask into Sales Boomerang through submit a request, and you'll get an expeditious response to whatever you're inquiring about.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Um,
So guys, just wanted to, finish off here, as well as, actual nitty gritty user administration, just going through everything we have now. How do I remove or delete a user? How do I update my details? All of the nitty gritty on actual administration is here as well. User access levels, a great tool to define roles and permissions within Sales Boomerang's database, and how you're kind of delegating responsibilities among yourselves within your organization. So all of these are able to tie in there and give you the full detail on what you could be achieving in terms of organization inside of Sales Boomerang. And you're able to submit a request here, find related articles at the bottom, and go back through your recently viewed. And you can always leave a comment too if there's something you want to see more of. You can absolutely answer, does Sales Boomerang integrate with
Homebot. Mortgage Coach.
XYZ CRM? And you can submit a comment right there, and you'll be able to open a discussion, have similar users answer as well. If there's another lender partner of ours that has a similar experience, you guys could bank on that dialogue there and submit a request if you need. So the Resource Hub is growing. The Resource Hub is just getting started. We're just getting warmed up essentially here, guys. So with that, wanted to get some feedback quickly before we move on. Wanted to ask a couple quick questions. Nicole, if you could throw our first poll on here, if you wouldn't mind. I'm going to stop my screen share here. But how soon do you think you'll be using the Resource Hub? And again, guys, anyone in your sales team can access this. You can access it. It's that simple. So you think you'll use it today, this week, within a month, or is this something you're like, yeah, this is fine, but I'm not sure that I'm ultimately going to use it. Just wanted to try and get some initial feedback on, as I said, as we're getting warmed up and ramped up here with this Resource Hub, how can we improve off the bat and collect anything that would be of use to our partners?
Awesome. All right, let's see. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Nicole, if you feel we've gotten some responses there.
And our next one is, what are you going to use the Resource Hub for? Do you think you're going to be using this more so for the sales side, for those LO resources, or do you think this is going to be something that's more helpful on the administration side? If you want to hop into the chat as well, please, we would love to hear any feedback on how you would like to see this grow, or what you think, the best use of it is, or what you're excited about for the Resource Hub. Again, we want to give you guys a place to live in the day-to-day, to find answers, get in communication with other lenders, see best practices, all of that information that we have, any past webinars, all of the video content we've compiled. Like Pablo said, we've put a lot of elbow grease into this, and we would love to hear thoughts on what we could do to further the experience of our Resource Hub.
And what about that last poll question? Love to throw up there is, tell us what's missing, like what you guys would.
Yeah,
like
what
to
would
see
you
that
love to
maybe
see?
you
Any
didn't
additional
see.
content here? Do you want us to get deeper into the best alert practices? Or are you looking for referral partner strategies? Do you think that there's more user admin tips, or is that something you're excited about and want to get more of ultimately? Video content, or please tell us in the chat if there's anything that you would like for us to include or think would be of great value to you and your team.
Fantastic. Hey, while people are answering that last question, Spencer, and thanks for everyone that's taken a part in that. So I did recognize in the Resource Hub, right? Sometimes you don't know where to go, but you know what you're looking for, right? And I think there was a search bar. You even if you know, like, the one word, like if somebody asked me about suppression, like suppression codes, what does that even mean? Or where do I even start? Or, bureaus, credit bureaus. And obviously, guys, we're talking about the admin side, not necessarily anything that's related to sales. Boom, you could drop that in, and then there you go. There are all your documents, most recent at the very top, to help you find exactly what it is that you're looking for. So, Spencer, man, I appreciate you doing that. Taking the time to share that. By the way, we dropped in the link of where to get access to that Resource Hub, because I know that if you jumped in a little bit more later, or you just recently got on with us, you may not have seen that. So there it is. And by the way, yes, we will have this SBU, this video, in the Resource Hub, right? And guys, what we're getting really good at doing is we're really good, and we want to teach, we want to basically share with you, we want to practice what we preach. And we always say, hey, you know what, you should really take a video that you record for your borrowers and then chop that up into little segments. Well, guess what? We're doing the same exact thing. We're going to take this SBU video. We're going to drop the resource hub portion into the resource hub. That'll be literally it'll be right there. It'll says how to use the resource hub, right? Or how to access, your items and find what you're looking for. So, but I do want to say one thing that's really important, and you can see the resource hub slide deck right back up, right? Spence, we're good. Okay, cool. Because this next, we were just looking at this prior to jumping on here, Nicole and Spencer and I were looking at this and says, guys, we can give you all the resources in the world, but it's not about your resources. It's about your resourcefulness. And again, and Tony Robbins is just amazing. Like, yeah, he's the epitome of like leadership and then taking action and executing on that leadership. And I want you guys to really know that we're not expecting you to do all this on your own. So, we didn't create the resource hub on our own, but it wasn't about that. It's really about us stepping up and doing things like this and sharing. This is how you use it. This is why you would use it. This is when you would use it. And so just keep in mind that we are a team. We are partners in this. And so that all of us are here for you, your CSMs, myself, Spencer, all of us are here to help you get through and help you find everything that you guys are looking for. So this next portion, as we wrap up the resource hub, by the way, excellent job, Spencer. And again, I'm so excited for everyone to be able to access that. We've been getting asked for a long time for that stuff. But something else that I love questions. Okay. I love questions. I feel like so much power is in the right question. Even Tony Robbins says, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions you ask. So you ever find yourself asking, am I hitting the mark? Right? Where am I possibly missing out? Or how do I stack up? Right? And whether it's a crazy market like this, or it's a crazy market like this, or even if it's flat, like we always, especially in the mortgage industry, I feel like we're always asking that question, right? We want to and we know we're told we shouldn't compare ourselves to others, but we want to know, right? Not only do we want to know, like, what if my boss wants to know, like, where are we, and are we hitting the mark? So, that's one of the number one things that that lenders ask us is, how am I stacking up, right? And so, what we want to talk about, right, is these next, these quarterly, what we call quarterly scorecards. Okay, it's a highly visual overview, a snapshot, if you will, of your account, right? And so you can see where you're hitting the mark, or if you're hitting the mark, right? You can see where you may possibly be missing out. And you can also see how you're stacking up with other lenders that are like you. And so for the next few slides, guys, what I really want to do is take, just a few minutes, maybe 5 or so minutes. I'm basically going to break down what each section of these quarterly scorecards have and entail. And it's just so you guys know, it's all super intuitive, right? And basic for you to understand and read, like you can print out and be like, oh, I can tell exactly what this is. But I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we show you. And so again, and having this recording as a resource for you to access if you're ever looking at these. But you're probably wondering, well, where would I even access these, right? Because these actually aren't going to be, at least not as what I'm aware of as today, and it's not going to be in the resource hub. But you may have seen an email that came across that looks like this. Okay, that basically comes from our customer success team. So for example, this one would have been from Cassie, saying, hey, I wanted to check in and make sure you're experiencing the benefits of your alerts and getting the most out of your partnership. And so here's your Q4 scorecard, right? Like over that 3-month period, and you'll find a customized breakdown. So if you've seen this email, guys, this is what I'm talking about, right? And so you would go and you would click on this and it would open this scorecard, right? So that's what I'm going to review right now. All right. So the first portion, and each of these portions are literally on that one PDF, one pager, right? So for that first portion, guys, it's records under management, and then this really important word, growth. Records under management growth. Remember, everything that we're going to talk about on the scorecard is based on quarterly numbers, right? So when we're talking about growth here, we're going to talk about quarterly growth. So what this discusses is how many new records, right? And again, what we mean by records are the number of like past clients, past prospects that you have uploaded with us. right? And so just to put in a little bit of context, right? You may have come and joined Sales Boomerang a year ago, and you may have started with 50,000 records. And here we are a year later, and you might still be at 50,000 records. Okay. So what we want to show you is, hey, what's the customer average doing when it comes to growth? And right now that number is at 11.76% in that Q4. And for example, if you're looking at this and you're ABC lending, you're going to see that your growth is only, it's just at 0.25% of growth, right? So this is super important because guys, in order to compete in any race, right, especially when the conditions and the environment and the economics and all that stuff is challenging, in order to compete in any race, you got to refuel at your pit stop. You got to make a pit stop and you have to refuel, right? Yes, I am going to keep continuing to make these car references. I've since started, loving F1 since watching, what is it?
Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive, right? But guys, it's super important. So our average customer refuels with approximately an 11.76 record growth in our that last quarter, right? Q4. And in this scenario, ABC Lending only did a little tiny bit, right? 0.25%. So again, your company name would be here and whatever number that is. So I want you to think about it like this. New leads that you have coming in, right? Since you started, new leads that you had coming in into your organization, right? New relationships that you've been building, new leads that you've purchased from your lead providers, realtors that have shared their databases with you, new referrals that your loan officers have gotten, and that may or may not be in your CRM or in your database, and on and on and on. Are we uploading those to Sales Boomerang? Are we making sure that Sales Boomerang is also monitoring those records, right? So we can't monitor if they haven't been uploaded to us. So really, we want to drive the point home that if you're not monitoring your borrowers, right, there's other mortgage companies that are getting really smart and saying, I'm going to start monitoring my records with, whatever tools or trigger, tools that they have. At the end of the day, everyone is going towards this direction. And so don't be left behind and not have those records monitored, because somebody else will. And that's where you end up losing a lot of your business on the back end. So just to drive the point home, guys, and sometimes
Pablo, can I jump in really quickly? This
Please
is
do.
what we want, guys. So Pablo, our two core values: no borrower left behind, and we want to be our borrower's best financial friend. That means as we close new loans, as we continue organically working as a lender, that we are going to sit down at the funding, when the deal's funded, the loan's funded, at the table and say, hey, we're going to look out for you in your best interest. You're able to use Sales Boomerang to really let these borrowers know when they can benefit from the market or from their position and whatever it is, relieve that burden, be that best financial friend. We can't do that if we're not monitoring them as they come in. We want Sales Boomerang we are your tech team. Sales Boomerang is at your disposal. We are your team, and we want your borrowers to see the full value of what they can do. So at the closing table, we can say, hey, we're going to let you know, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, when you can benefit from the market or have a good position, or when you should stay pat. So you can make that dedication to a borrower and then follow up on it. That's what we're all about. Borrowers for life, best financial friends. And we can't do that if we're not continuing to add what we've done or what we've acquired. So as you see, these are all about health, and these are all about what our best practices. That's what we want. That's why we built the resource hub. That's why we're having these scorecards, best practices. What are our most successful partners doing? This is exactly it.
Yeah. And you can see why Spencer is head of training and adoption team there. And I love that point. I almost missed that, where you can tell every new customer that you have that we will follow up with you. We will deliver good news to you when it happens, not if it happens. We know it will, right? Our customers do 11 loans in a lifetime. So when that happens, we'll be in touch. And you can even let the ones that don't become customers, your turn downs, your prospects, your leads. Hey, you know what? Sorry we weren't able to help you today, or you may not have qualified today, but we've got an incredible team here and an incredible, platform. We're going to let you know. We're going to let you know the day that you're qualified for us to be able to help you or move forward, right? Let's move on to the next one, guys. So everyone wants their conversion rates to improve, right? Michelle Berman, she was recently on a Mortgage Masterminds podcast that our VP of Marketing did. And she said social media, she's the social media queen, specifically for Instagram, to the mortgage and real estate world. Many of you probably know her or know of her, maybe even worked with her, but she shares her 3 C's, right? When it comes to conversion. And she says, you've got to connect with the community so that you can convert. You got to connect with a community so you can convert. But if you don't know how to connect or what your community is, you're never going to convert. So, for us, conversions mean out of all of your alerts that you've received from Sales Boomerang, right? Out of all of your alerts that you've received from Sales Boomerang, what % of those are converted into apps, right? Anyone that's ever been on one of my trainings, I always say, hey, my main goal for you, for your loan officers, is to take alerts and convert them into apps, alerts to apps, right? You've heard that before. And that's really what we're driving at, is for you to know that we can monitor your conversion rate, okay? And not just to apps, right? In a report that we have, we also monitor how many of those have funded, right? Obviously, we know there's homework there that, hey, as long as we do our part and we get you guys to be able to write applications, you got to be able to take the ball and get it over the, over the finish line. But so just understand that we want you to know that we want to share those with you. So if there's a big question mark over here, like you're seeing, right? Our customer average is 1.63. So let's just call it 2 out of 100 alerts that we deliver are going to get converted into loans, right? Apps and funded. If there's a big question mark over here, guys, that simply means that we don't know. We don't know what your numbers are. But guess what? Not all of our scorecards have question marks. Some of our scorecards actually have numbers, and that's because those partner clients of ours have requested what's called a conversion report. You want to talk about conversion report for a minute or two, Spence?
Absolutely. The goal of our conversion reports, guys, is number one, you're going to hear us say partner until we're blue in the face, because we want to take full accountability on your return on investment. We better be putting value into your pipeline, getting what you're paying for. We want to be a true strategic partner. So we want to take accountability. As Pablo said, when you get an alert, what happened to it? Did it become an application? Did it become a funded deal? How long did it take to turn from an app into a funded deal, or from an alert into a funded deal? Who closed it? What was the loan amount, and everything in between? We want to provide this accountability so that you can, and Pablo always says it best when referring to conversion reports, this is the keep my job, save my job, or get promoted report, because you can take these and show, your uppers or your team or whoever, hey, this is what we're getting out of Sales Boomerang. I chose this. Maybe you're the one who is in charge of the tech stack or the CTO or whatever it may be. I want to be able to weigh these metrics. Then we can identify where we can grow, where we're killing it, where we can promote internal discussion. Hey, maybe we have one sales member or one LO that's fantastic at closing our equity apps, our equity alerts. He takes a ton of apps, or she gets a ton of funded deals. Let's promote the internal dialogue there. Let's sharpen our blades, make sure that our knife set that we're going to the kitchen with is chopping cleanly, effectively, and efficiently as it can be. So it's us taking accountability. It's giving you those metrics. Within a week, we can get these back typically, and letting you know where you stand. Where do I stand? What are and that's what this scorecard's all about, guys. Where do I stand? What are similar lenders doing? What are best practices? That's what we hear time and time again, and we're trying to deliver it in this conversion report as well as with this scorecard.
Yeah. So well said. And you took a little bit of my thunder, man. I was going to share about the keep my jobs report. So again, the conversion report, or conversion rate portion of your scorecard is just a snapshot of that. But the only way that we can actually give you your insights on a snapshot is to have a conversion report completed. And so just make sure you get in touch with your CSM, and then we can provide you with the next steps to get that, right? Basically, we just want to see your funded data. And usually we recommend doing it within a quarter, a 3-month period, so we can give you a nice clean snapshot of what those numbers might look like. And again, I absolutely agree, Spencer. It's everyone's heard of the jobs report from the U.S. Department of Labor. I call it the keep your job report, because if you are the one that goes into that boardroom, right, whether it's a real boardroom or virtual boardroom, when you're having your meetings with your higher ups, and you have that conversion report, guys, it's the one that can literally say, hey, here's where we are on track. Here's where we're maybe a little bit off. Here's why. And then here are some, based on the conversations I had with my CSM and Pablo and Spencer, here are the steps that we can take in the next 30, 60, 90 days, right? If we're looking at what we need to do with Sales Boomerang, whether we need to turn on some alerts or reduce some of this, or turn up some of these, some of these levers, right? Big levers for big results, small levers for smaller results. You go into any meeting like that with that report, I'm telling you, you're the safest person in that room to keep your job, because you're actually partnering up and using something that's helping us show you where we can grow. All right, so we went over records under management growth, conversion rate. 2 more sections, guys. Return on investment. This one really speaks for itself, right? Right now, on average, our customers put in $1, they get $38 back, right? Out of all of our customers, we've got, I don't know, Spencer, 180 or so wonderful, partners in our Sales Boomerang family. You put $1 in, you get $40 out or $38 out. I understand not everyone is there, and that's okay. But Alex was just on stage. I forget what event he was at recently, where he was just sharing, and this is how serious we are about this number, right? And it's our conversion reports that show this. He'd said, "Who here has $1?" And literally, a person got up. It took a while. Somebody stood up in the audience, walked up and gave him $1 on stage. And he said, "Wait, don't leave." He pulled out $40, 2 crisp $20 bills, and said, "Here you go." And he said, "So again, who's got $1?" And then everyone tried to rush the stage. But the point is that we're serious about this, right? And if this is not happening for you, right, and your numbers are over here, and you like to be closer to this, you need to reach out, right? Because you may need scripting, you may need training, you may need settings adjustments, you may need to add bureaus, you may need to strategize with the alert types that you're using, right? Like, hey, why is it that you have a retail team and you don't have prescriptive scenarios cash out on? Or you need to, you need to have a better strategy with how to partner with your realtor partners, right? Why aren't you sharing the fact that you can help your realtors with this amazing data that you have that Sales Boomerang uses? It's one of the best tools that when you share them with realtors, they're like, "Oh my goodness, none of my other lenders have shared this with me," right? So all it takes is just identifying what those levers are, and your CSMs and those strategy calls are going to be the ones. So when you see those coming from us and you see these scorecards, guys, this isn't a way to beat ourselves up, right? I wasn't the smartest kid in school, so there was sometimes I didn't want to see my quote unquote scorecard. I didn't want my parents to see my scorecard. But I also had no one to walk there behind me and say, "Well, this is why Pablo wasn't getting the best grade, and here's what we're putting in place to help him do that," right? But guys, remember, this is a living, breathing platform, right? So get with us to get your ROI higher, stronger, because I want to give $40 to everyone on here for $1 in return. All right. So let's go into this last portion. This last portion is customers like yourself subscribe to these products. So this last portion just basically shows you a screenshot or an overview of what alerts you currently have on. Right. So you're going to know that right off the bat. And then we would have just said, "Hey, you've got rate watch, mortgage inquiry, listing, and rate and term." Right. So those are the ones you have on. And then what we do is we show you which ones you are not subscribed to. These little lock features here. OK. And some you might not have on for obvious reasons. Right. Maybe you don't have a retention or a wholesale division, and you don't carry any of your own loans. So why would I have risk and retention? OK, that makes sense. But if you look at the rest of these, right, and maybe you're looking at the kind of company that you are, we're going to also show you how many opportunities and alerts you're missing out on, right? And in this case, not including risk and retention, right? We're talking about a $45 million opportunity loss, right? Does that mean that there's $45 million in funded business? Well, no, the greatest sales team in the world wouldn't do that. But $45 million in opportunity. Now, I'm not sure exactly how many quote unquote alerts that would amount to, right? If you divide by whatever the average loan size is, I'm sure you can do some of that math. But at the end of the day, the best question is, are you okay with leaving that off the table? And if the answer is yes, then this last portion isn't going to make sense to you. It's like, well, what's the point, right? If I'm okay with just what we have, But if the answer is, I don't know that I feel okay with not giving my loan officers a shot at this missed opportunity here, right? And it's that kind of thinking that we need to position ourselves in, especially if we're the decision makers, the point of contacts, the administrators for the sales Boomerang product. You need to really look at it like, where are all the opportunities that we need to be discussing, right? And then we need to get back and say, how much of that are we either unable to versus unwilling to part with, right? Sometimes it might come down to budget, and that's okay. We want you to make that decision, but we want to give you a reason and really give you a source of truth and understanding what you're leaving off the table by doing that. And in some cases, it just takes a little bit of stretching, right? And so we wanted to share that with you. And again, your number is going to be specific. Oh, and by the way, because I checked with our team and I said, hey, where are we coming up with these numbers? These numbers, Spencer, this is really cool. These are based on what would have been mapped to you. So if you're looking at these based on how many records you have with us,
this isn't some generic number that we're rolling out. This is customized to what is inside your database. Every database of every single lender is different. We're going to show the actual equity opportunity. And for some, there might not be a lot. We don't want to turn that on. We want to know what is the secret sauce for your database. We are trying to custom tailor a suit to fit your database. Make sure that we have all of the opportunity. Where can we find the highest return on investment, as well as the most opportunity within our database? How do we close more loans? That is what we're trying to find, tailored to you, not generic, run-of-the-mill averages across our entire clientele, nothing like that. This is each and every instance specifically for you as a lender.
Do me a favor, drop into the chat. Just let me know. Drop the number 1 if you are or can't wait to look at or looking forward to seeing your scorecard, right? If you're looking forward to seeing your scorecard, or at least having that discussion and taking a peek at that, let me know. Like I this is something that's very important. I mean, we want you to see this screenshot, this overview of these. Now, if I'm not seeing any ones, then Spencer, that means we're in trouble, because no one wants to see their report card. We want you to see it. And guess what? We're gonna help you with this. When does this come out? Did you already talk? Hey, Amber, great question. So, Spence, you probably have your a finger on the pulse a little bit more about when these are going out, or how many have already gone out. I know not all of them have. So if you can talk to that a little bit from what you're aware.
We got Brady chiming in as well. Is there a way to access your report outside of the email? These are going to be automated going out in the next couple of weeks. You should receive them periodically. Then moving into Q3, you'll receive them every quarter. Each and every quarter, we will be sending you a scorecard as well, coming from your CSM, coming from Pablo and myself, so that we can open links and talk an opportunity for adding more alerts or fine tuning, tweaking those levers and pushing those buttons. Those should be coming out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. You should receive one, and then every single quarter periodically as well. And hey, if you want one now, we're going to be amicable. If you want one, if you're thirsty to see all of this, which you should, this is all valuable information. We're missing opportunity if we're not trying to find the secret sauce for each of us individually, then we can get you one. So reach out to Pablo or myself, reach out to your CSM, whatever it may be, and we'll get you one. So if you want this now, we will figure it out and push it to you as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no. So guys, these are all available. So they are going out to you at one point or another. But if you want it now and you're like, I don't feel like looking through my past emails, or I don't feel like waiting until you guys send it, definitely reach out to your CSM and say, hey, I'd love to review my scorecard with you. And then guys, don't just ask for the report card, your scorecard. Don't just ask for it. Make sure that you set up a time to go through and say, hey, walk me through, where can I turn this up, right? Where can I fine tune this, right? Where am I dripping oil, and how do I tighten that up and make sure that we have a clean driveway in and out every single time, right? Make sure you're fueling up properly and all that. So great. Spence, anything to add before we close out the scorecard portion here?
This is just, again, guys, we created the resource hub. We created the scorecard so that we can show best practices and what the value is for you. We want to let you know, we work with so many lenders at this point, guys. We're trying to find the sweet spots and help you find that perfect niche, that perfect balance for yourself as a lender and for your team. So all we're trying to do is churn out best practices, show what others are doing, and show how we can access the potential of our database. The market is shifting. We all know that. It already has shifted and will continue to. Sales Boomerang is a flashlight in the dark there as we're going through. We're trying to comb and find all of those opportunities within your database, and we're going to continue to. If we could turn that flashlight into the headlights of a truck or into street lights, that is the goal, so that we are not walking in the dark through what we have. We are trying to give full transparency into your database and provide those best practices between everyone we work with. What are the most successful lender partners of ours doing? Adding RUM as they close deals, as they gain leads. They're monitoring what is new and fresh. They are running conversion reports so that we can take accountability and we can find what we need to work on and sharpen, as well as our strengths. And they are going to continue to examine the alert settings, opportunities, and where we need to turn on the lights, so to speak. That's all we're trying to do with this, guys. Give full transparency as often and as frequent as possible into what is up at Sales Boomerang and how we can close more loans.
Yeah. And for clarity, when Spencer mentioned RUM, he means the records that are
records under management, what we're monitoring and who.
He doesn't mean adding an alcoholic beverage to what it is that we're doing, although sometimes that's also fine.
That's my CSM side speaking. That's our little inside lingo.
All right. So let's take these last 10, 15 minutes or so, because I do, looks like we have about 12 minutes left. I do want to take some of these last minutes and talk about how to find more purchase business using Sales Boomerang. Some of you may have seen a video that Spencer and I had created. We're going to kind of do a refresher of that for everyone that's here, and then also something you can take back to your team. And then I want to leave a few minutes if there's any other questions that we have. But I do want to thank you, for staying along this far. Let me go ahead and just have myself and Spencer here on the screen and discuss this, right? So, Spencer, why are we doing this? Why are we talking about where lenders can find more purchase business? What's been going on?
Absolutely, Pablo. Last year, the year before, everything that resulted kind of COVID impacting the market the way it did, the rates were down so low. We were all refinanced, fat and happy, and able to, basically it was like, it was beyond fishing with dynamite. There are just all these opportunities coming in, and rates are up, guys. Inventory's down. Where are the purchase opportunities as rates rise? It's going to be bare in the refi side in many cases. So we wanted to try and outline every which way that we can continue to, again, turn on the lights, uncover a stone, all of the old cliches possible, but where are existing places we might have something turned on that we're not quite looking at fully in context, or what can we turn on to identify purchase opportunities in today's market using Sales Boomerang? And we've got quite a few. There's about 6 ways, Pablo, that we've identified and are really excited about. And as we continue to shift through this market this year, there are actions you can take, there are levers to pull, and things that we can do right now to identify purchase opportunities and move forward. Whether you're CD, whether you're retail, wholesale, a credit union, whatever it may be, let's turn the lights on these purchase opportunities and really go through and uncover all of those stones. And the one thing you're going to hear, Pablo, I love to say when we're talking about these purchase opportunities, a lot of times we're going to come back to, you'll never know some of these purchase opportunities with borrowers if you don't ask. And I think that's what ties into a lot of it, and using duality or multitude or multi-purpose facets of these alerts that we have. So we're really excited to try and help pump up the purchase business.
Yeah, we've heard you guys loud and clear. Obviously, we follow the market. We see what's going on. So there's nothing new there. But what we can do that's new, and I think that's refreshingly, hopefully, a welcome idea, is, again, a true partner. Hey, let's all just get sour over what's happening in the market, but what's the silver lining? Like, what can we do to help? And so, Spencer and I are going to go over at least 6 different opportunities, 6 different ways. And chances are some of you might already be using the resources that we're going to discuss. But again, we want to give you 6 different perspectives on those resources during this market, and then maybe even some more. But we also like to know if you're using any of these strategies, or if you're using something that you haven't heard. Feel free to use the chat during this portion. But let's get into them. What's the first one, Spence? What's the first way we can find more purchase business using Sales Boomerang?
So if you're on this call and you're a current partner of ours, I think there's about a 4 in 5 chance that you're using our mortgage inquiry alert, our bread and butter. We're the industry leader with it. Knowing when that, when that borrower in your database has their credit pulled, that trigger alert that hops on. So the one aspect of that we've started to find a lot of people don't know the hidden gem of that is that we segment these bad boys directly from Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian into likely purchase activity, non-purchase activity, or what we call a general inquiry. So we're going to show exactly when those opportunities are purchased. Can we then funnel them to our purchase team, to a certain LO, to a certain department, whatever it may be, prioritize those. We can click on these alerts. We can see likely home buyer, likely purchase activity from those alerts, just in something we already have. And we've kind of uncovered that that's something we cover during training. Pablo, you and I hit on it, but we know a lot of people kind of have forgotten about that, or it's fallen by the wayside. So we're actually identifying specific purchase opportunities in our most popular alert.
Yeah. And hey, don't forget too, I mean, that if you get a mortgage inquiry on a client, whether they're looking for a purchase or a refi, what a great opportunity to reach out to the previous referral partner that may have sent that person to you, right? Or may have done a purchase with, and saying, hey, by the way, I just had a great conversation. They're actually looking forward to hearing from you because they are shopping for a mortgage. My system let me know. I talked to them first. I let them know that they're now qualified and they're waiting for you to call them. And so what a great way to, not only help yourself get more business, but help your partners get more business. The second one is listing alerts, right? Pretty obvious what those have, what those are. If a customer has listed their home, doesn't matter. There's no dead zones. There's, every zip code in the country, faster than MLS. We partner with 5,300, different listing companies. We're going to know whether that person listed on their own or listed with an agent. We are going to know, and we're going to notify you the day that happens. So a lot of times the misconception is, oh man, if they've listed their home, they've already got a realtor. They're already purchasing. They've already got pre-approval for the next house, and that's just not the case. We hear time after time after time someone lists their home, but they haven't actually gotten into the buying process yet. So the opportunity there is get on. You have to read. You have to do the homework. Or the legwork of getting in front of that customer, getting on the phone, getting on a text message, and get the buyer side transaction for you and your agent, right? Don't just assume that they're already set to go on their next purchase, right? It's a sad assumption if you do, because again, we're just hearing it time and time again, that those opportunities are still there. And we have many other ways to share that. And again, in a strategy call, we can discuss those where there's people that have come in and said, that they were interested, they had listed their home and they were interested in purchasing others. And it really led to, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're here because I can actually help you today. So what about the next ones there, Spencer?
So credit improvement, guys, it's what we always say, taking your turn downs, and I like to say putting them in the Nile, your denials into the Nile so that they come back north. So a lot of our lender partners are using these for kind of the base function. Hey, my turn downs are now qualified. They weren't credit qualified. Now they are. We're actually able to flip the script here a little bit and have some secondary usage of it that's going to be beneficial in this market. As opportunities are thinner in the purchase market, we can say, okay, who did I close, maybe under 740, let's say under 700 or 720 in the last year or two that has now become 740 and above, has now qualified into that next tier of credit, that elite credit score that we love to see, and has a realm of possibilities there. We can be looking for quality there. And again, that's why we said you'll never know if you don't ask. So let's see who in our database has elevated into 740 plus, is super well qualified. And are they interested in an investment property? Are they interested in, an Airbnb, supplemental income, passive income? We'll never know if we don't ask, if we don't have those conversations. So let's identify the top of the top credit qualified wise in our database and see where the purchase opportunity lies. And again, let's uncover stones. Let's turn on the lights and see or plant seeds. Let's be that best financial friend. Is that something that's going to be of benefit to our borrowers? A lot of times you'll find those positive conversations and you're planting a seed and looking at the possibility of it. And then they'll come back. Your borrowers will come back and love to take advantage of that opportunities. And who is the one that is that best financial friend, pointing you in the right direction, just letting you know of the opportunities you have at hand. So our credit improvement alert has been fantastic for that. And
Yep.
let's locate the best of the best, guys.
Yeah. So that's two that Spencer covered there, right? So he covered credit improvement as a standalone turn down, right? Like, hey, everyone that's been turned down, that, oh my goodness, now I can help them today. Fantastic news. And then also those that you've already helped that might actually be in a better position to, to purchase a home with less money down, and may have been thinking about it. But again, you don't know until you ask. And so these last two are equity and cash out. Equity alert is the alert that lets you know how much usable equity any of your previous customers have, right? And it's specifically equity. That's the main thing that we're delivering there. But the point is that it's not just positioned to help you with refi. It's positioned to possibly even buy, right? Whether they're looking to do an investment, whether they've been thinking about purchasing a home and they see, houses being sold or purchased left and right. And maybe they haven't got out and said anything, but now you have the opportunity, like Spencer said, you'll never know if you don't ask. So there needs to be an opportunity conversation. What better reason to get in front of somebody, give them good news, man. Spencer, what a smart move you made 3 years ago when we helped you get in that house. Look how much equity you've accumulated over the years. And by the way, a lot of people have been talking about how they use equity. I took really good notes when you and I last spoke. You wanted to do a move up or a move down purchase when your kids were graduating college. I don't know how soon, or graduating high school. I don't know how close to that you are, but I wanted to let you know that that's available today. Right. So now we can start to explore that. Now so that's equity. The cash out, same conversation. Cash out alert though is like gold, because it's not just equity. It's you're credit qualified, you have equity, it's the loan amount that I'm looking for or higher. And this person possibly even has debt, has revolving debt. So what better way to, hey, same thing, right? Hey, Spence, man, you've got a great opportunity here. Over the years, you've built up your equity. Here's how much equity you have. We can have that same conversation of, I don't know if you've been thinking about purchasing a home. You've got enough here. And by the way, guys, if you put your settings to where it's like 20+%, right? So I don't want to receive an alert unless they have 20 or more percent equity in their home. Why? So that they have enough money for a down payment. Or you can even start to do additional bumps for like 10%. So now I know they have enough money for down payment, some leftover cash, and to pay off your debt, which, by the way, a cash out alert is going to let you know all of those things are there. Now that alert situates you in a position where you can have that opportunity conversation, but your team has to bring it up. It's not a, hey, you've got equity and, would you be interested in looking at some options for, taking some cash out? That's not serving anyone. That's not serving anyone. And in fact, if some of your, Spence, you mentioned one thing, that if you have a team or somebody that's really good at converting those kinds of conversations, guys, I'm going to give you a point. It's not one of the 6, right? We just went to the 6. Consider taking a portion of your team, and have them focus solely on sales boomerang alerts. There's companies now, lenders that we're talking with, that are focusing on a retention team that's focusing on those, and then working in conjunction with those originating loan officers that originated those files in the first place, so that everyone wins. So again, thanks so much, Spence. I know we went over those 6. You want to review the 6 real quick? Number 1.
Yeah, we got the mortgage inquiry segmenting, showing likely purchase activity, listing alerts, whose home is for sale, how can we fortify our lender partner relationships, credit improvement, your denials, plus your super well-qualified borrowers, then who has equity, who has debt with equity and cash out. And again, guys, you'll never know with these borrowers if you don't ask. Have the conversation, see who's interested, plant the seed, identify purchase opportunities, and we will shine the light into that database of where we can find these conversations, opportunities, and being that best financial friend for your borrowers.
Guys, it's not Patrick Lencioni. He wrote the 5 dysfunctions of a team. He said it's not finance, it's not strategy, not technology. It is teamwork that remains the ultimate competitive advantage. And both because it is so powerful and so rare, we truly want to be that partner that helps you have that complete ultimate competitive advantage, right? But we do bring the finance, we do bring the strategy, and we do bring the technology, as well as amazing team here at Sales Boomerang that I'm proud to be a part of, and proud to have you guys as partner, family, clients. So with that being said, guys, make sure that you reach out to your CSM. And we know we covered a lot today, and thank you so much for staying just a minute over. Schedule a time with your CSM to have a strategy call. Don't just ask for your scorecard. Say, I'd love to review this with you guys. I'd love to see where I can ratchet up. Let me take that. I would love to see keep my job report, right? Your conversion report. And also, Pablo and Spencer talked about these purchase strategies. How can I make sure I implement those using the right alert type? So thank you so much. If anyone's got any questions, I'm going to hang out for at least one more minute. If anyone's got a question they want to drop into the chat, please do. But I do want to thank you for your time, and I value that. Thank you, Spencer, for joining us. And we can't wait to see you guys next time. Next month, by the way, Sales Boomerang University is going to be on May 17th at 2:00 Eastern. So mark that in your calendar. You'll be seeing the registration for that, but May 17th. So that's in like 2.5 short weeks. What is the cost of Sales Boomerang for MLOs? Great question, Lindsay. Do me a favor, send us your email address and we can get that to you, because we're at enterprise level. So for a loan officer, we do not work directly with them, but we can get you any information that would be helpful.